Hello guys, welcome back to Nerdy Crew. So today we are solving problem 136 of Leetcode, that is of single number. Let's read the problem statement. We are provided a non-empty array of integer nums. Every element appears twice except for one. Find that single one. So basically all the elements in the array will appear twice except for this one particular element, and we have to return that particular element. I hope you have understood the problem statement. So the extreme root solution could be selecting a particular element and then doing a linear search in this entire array to find the total number of occurrences of that selected element, right? So for example, in the case of this array, I can have a loop in order to select an element. And once I have selected a particular element, using another loop, I can do a linear search to find the total occurrences of this number 2. After doing the linear search, we see that the total number of occurrences of this element 2 is 2. Therefore, we should select another element and then do the linear search accordingly. Then we'll select another element, which again is 2. Doing the linear search, we'll see that this number is occurring twice. So then we can move on to the next element, which is 1. And for 1, again we'll do a linear search and we'll see that the total number of occurrences is 1. Therefore, we are simply going to return this particular element. Right? So now let's code it. Now let's have int n is equal to nums dot length. Now we know that we need a for loop which is going to iterate throughout this array, and it will help us to select a particular element. So let's have for int I is equal to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus. Now let's initialize count as 0. Now this count is going to help us to keep a track of the total number of occurrences of the selected element, right? Now we need another loop which is again going to iterate throughout this entire array, and it will help us to make comparisons of our selected element. I'll be doing dry run also in the later part of the video, so just wait for a moment and you'll understand the whole thing. So for int j is equal to 0, j is less than n, j plus plus. So now let me explain what we are doing right now. So this loop is helping us to select a particular element. Let me take this example first. We can take this example, maybe better one. So let's tweak it a little, and this is fine. Okay. So now understand. First, we have selected a particular element. Let's say 4. Let's say 4, right? Because we are starting from the 0th index. Now we have selected the element 4 with the help of this loop. Now I have initialized the value of count as 0. So let's say that count is equal to 0. Now what are we doing? We are using another for loop which is again starting from the 0th index, and it is going till the last index. So what is this loop doing? It is basically going to compare all the elements in this array with this selected element. And if I find the element which is equal to 4, I'll just increment the value of count. So here I can say that if nums of j is equal to nums of I, simply increment the value of count plus plus. So here, now my count will be 1, right? Let's do it again. So right now I'm searching for the element 4. So I'll start from here, which is the 0th index. I get the count as 1. Then I'll go to the second element. Now see, this comparison is occurring with the help of this second loop, okay? And we are selecting this element with the help of our first loop. I hope this thing is clear. So now we are here at the first index, and now again my count will be equal to 2. Fine. Now we can optimize this code a little, because there is no point in comparing 4 with the remaining elements, because we have already got the count 2 and we know that the maximum count could only be 2. So I can say that if count is equal to 2, simply break. Now we'll break from the second loop. We'll break from this inner loop. So once I have got my count as 2, there is no need to make further comparisons, and we can just switch to the next element using this for loop. And the inner loop will again make the comparison starting from the 0th index, and once we get the count as 2, we will break. Now the outer loop will go to the element 2, and the inner loop will make some comparisons, and once we get the count as 2, we'll break. Then we'll go to the next element, which is 1, and when we'll start comparing, we'll go on till the last element, but the count will not be equal to 2. So what will we do? We can simply return this element. So here I can say that if count is equal to 1, simply return the particular element which is nums of I. I hope that you have understood. Now I can simply say that since we have to return something, because the return type is int, let's say that return -1 in case these conditions are not met. So let's try to run it now. And it is accepted. Now we are submitting it, and it is submitted. So now let's analyze the time complexity of the program. Here we are using two for loops. So this loop is running for n times, and this loop is running for somewhere around n times. So we can say that the time complexity is going to be big O of n square. So that is the time complexity. But you see that this time complexity won't be efficient if we are running it for bigger programs, and here also we are provided that we should have a linear time complexity. So we should optimize it, and the space complexity is going to be big O of 1 because there is no extra space that we are using. So now let's optimize it, and for that please make sure that you watch the next video. And if you liked the video, please make sure that you like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.